who am I? Let me find myself again. And that's where the journey started. I never dreamed once that I would have a business.
You had this kind of dream, or you knew you wanted your own business, but you didn't know what that would look like. And I think that's actually so important, to not necessarily know what it would look like.
Even though we want it so bad, something better is going to come.
Yeah.
But you have to trust that. Now we know that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like trusting that. Like trusting in yourself that it's okay, this isn't for me.
Yeah. You have to have like an emotional feeling towards the end goal, but you can't have an emotional attachment to the end goal.
Spot on.
Boundaries is such a big topic, isn't it?
Huge. If they're not done properly,
everything
falls apart. Why does someone feel they don't need someone to kind of talk through what they're experiencing? What do you think is going to show up? What's going to come to the surface for you? Always say that judgment piece.
Yeah.
That you're worried that someone is going to say you're not doing it the right way, or you should be doing like this.
Set yourself high goals, but make sure they're sustainable.
So it was always, you have to hustle, you have to work really hard,
and
then you will receive. Now I know that's not the case. You have to put the effort in. When it's in alignment, you become magnetic. Why are we waiting to become poorly before we change things? Knowing that life is so short, why am I taking? I like to take risks, but I like to take the right risks, not the wrong risks.
Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to Real Talk with Nat. Before we jump into today's episode, I've got something to share with you all. I've been working with the team behind Renova for a number of years, and I'm so proud to finally introduce what they have just created. You know those moments when you're feeling stuck, when you feel like you're doing everything that you should, but somehow you just still feel disconnected? That is exactly what Renova has been designed to help you with. It's not another productivity app or a self-help tool. Renova combines daily AI check-ins, expert human coaching, and a real community to help you align, slow down, and really create that reality that you truly want. Here's how it works. Each day, you start with a 2-minute check-in that helps you see what's really driving your stress and what's really driving your energy. Then you can connect with others or coaches who are on the same path as you, people who truly understand the highs and lows of personal growth. And here's the best part. For the next 7 days only, you can try Renova totally for free for 30 days. After that, it will move to a standard 14-day free trial. So if you've been meaning to take that next step forward to feeling aligned, feeling grounded, and feeling more clear, this is your moment. Just head over to renova.coach and start your 30-day reset today. All right, let's get into this week's episode. Well, welcome to the podcast, Slav.
Thank you.
How are we doing today?
I'm good, and thank you so much for having me on.
You are so welcome. We've been meaning to get you on for a while, haven't we? We had to cancel. I had to cancel because of my horrendous morning sickness, actually.
I did think afterwards, I wonder
that
if
was
it's now
why.
due to the morning sickness.
That was literally why, but we've made it through the worst of it.
Good.
So we got you here today. So you're just back from Dubai.
I am. Came back last week.
Yeah. Loving the freezing cold life here in the UK.
I am. Do you know what? When I got off the plane, I remember thinking, so nice to feel that fresh air.
Yeah.
And then yesterday I was frozen.
Yeah.
I was like,
I take that back.
I'm not happy that I'm this cold.
Yeah. It's too cold at the moment though for me.
Yeah. It is too cold for me.
I
can't
like
stand the
it.
cold.
I like it when it's like November, December, and then it gets to January and I'm like, right, I'm over it now. Christmas has been and gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give a little introduction to yourself. Let the viewers and listeners know about you.
So my name is Slavica Tobdzic. Everyone knows me as Slav. And I am a business owner. I have
Sorry, say your first name again.
Slavica.
It's definitely not how I thought you were called.
What did you think it was now?
Slavica.
A lot of people call me Slavica.
But that's not your name.
No.
Slavica. How? Oh, I love that. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was like,
no, it's
what
okay.
did she just say?
What's her real name?
Slavica. Yeah.
Slavica.
Nice.
But everyone knows me as Slav, which is fine. So I'm a business owner. I have 4 businesses. I have 3 in the UK and I have 1 in Dubai. But we work, again, worldwide.
Yeah, nice. And what do you do? Tell us about your businesses.
So my background is social work. So I was in social work for many years. Absolutely loved social work. Loved it. And I would lead on the response to child exploitation, strategically and operationally. But then I decided to set my own safeguarding consultancy business. So I've got a safeguarding consultancy business. I then have a coach and retreat business in the UK. I also then have a community interest company, and that's for supported accommodation. So for anyone that doesn't know, young people that are placed in accommodation for 16 to 17-year-olds. It's all now regulated. So we set that up as a not-for-profit. So we want to give back, and we want to make sure that our young people are in the most safest accommodation possible. And then I have the New Moon Wellbeing, which is corporate wellbeing in Dubai.
Yeah, lovely. And how did you, I want to go into detail of all of those things in a second, but how did you end up here? Because I know you've got quite a story, which is why I wanted you on the podcast today. So how did you get to where you are now?
You know,
if you could say it in a roundabout way.
This morning, I was thinking, I know she's probably going to ask this, and how am I going to answer this? I would say it's probably through different life events, real significant life events, usually around grief and loss of some kind, that made me stop and think, what am I doing? What do I want? What needs to change? And then we flip the script.
Okay.
I'll make it sound simple. As you know now, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
But it literally is going through those moments and thinking something has to change, or I want more. This is great, but there must be more. And then from that wanting more, it went on through the self-development work, if I'm honest. I then just continued. I mean, I'd probably say from around 30, I got really into self-development and manifestation.
Okay.
And that was after a breakup.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
But I was still a social worker and I loved my job. So I threw myself into work, healthy, unhealthy. But
bit of
then,
both, probably.
yeah, bit of both. But then I really started looking at myself and what do I want? Like, who am I? Let me find myself again. And that's where the journey started. But before that, I'd always been into my holistic practices. So I loved yoga. I found yoga absolutely life-changing for me. I loved that. But I just wasn't yet ready for the self-development stuff until that point. And I think you have to be ready.
Yeah.
I tried it before a couple of years earlier. And I remember really picking up The Secret.
Yes.
And I was in Dubai and I remember laying by the pool and I was like, what is this shit? Literally like, what is this shit?
Yeah.
I do not understand it whatsoever. And it was a few years later, I was going to this meditation class and the woman said to me, have you read The Secret? I was like, no, it's not for me, darling. I've tried it. It's not for me. She was like, Sav, I think you're ready. And that threw me. I was like, what do you know you think? She's, I think you're ready. Try and give it a go. And then I never put it down.
Really?
I read it, listened to the audiobook, read it again. And I did some of the practices and that's opened up a whole new world for me.
Wow. I love that. And that's so true what you said, like, until you're ready, there's no point almost. But I always think like, you know, you get all these kind of little windows into learning about stuff, don't you, as life goes on. And you either want to take it in or you don't, but they all add up bit by bit by bit. And you don't even realize you're taking stuff in sometimes. And I often see that with people around us as well. Like, you know, you can have friends or family members who you're like, oh, I just wish they would do a bit of work on themselves. But until they're open to it and they're ready to it, it's like, well, it's not going to go in anyway. That's saying, isn't it? The teacher appears when the student's ready and vice versa.
Absolutely. You can plant the seeds. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
You can't push anything onto anyone. You plant the seeds.
Yeah.
And at some point, if it's meant to be for them, I'm a great believer in that as well. Like our paths are definitely lined out for us. If it's meant to be, we will dip into it.
Yeah.
And if we're not, we won't.
Yeah. And I think you probably find this as a coach yourself. You often think that, oh, everyone needs it, everyone should be doing it, which I agree to a certain level, but you're right, it's not for everybody. And that's actually quite a tough pill to swallow, especially as a coach, because you know the benefits of if they just learnt that little thing, or if they just looked at that a little bit differently, it would literally change their life, just one little outlook change, but we can't control other people. No. So you read The Secret, that was kind of the first step into it.
I read The Secret. It was a real moment for me.
Yeah.
It was a real, and I'll share this. I don't think I'll share this with anyone. The moment for me was, you've read The Secret now?
Yeah.
And in there it talks about where the individual manifested the feather. Do you remember in New York?
Yeah.
And then they pictured this feather that you wouldn't see anywhere.
Yes.
And you'd never see it in New York. And I was thinking, really?
Yeah.
So I sat there and I was like, right, what can I manifest? Like, I can't think of an item of clothing because I've probably seen it online or something. So I thought, what can I manifest? And I thought, you know what, I'm going to manifest a crystal pyramid with these little shadings of colour.
Okay.
And so in my head, I was like, I'm not going to come across that. I'm definitely not going to come across it anywhere.
Quite a random thing to think of, yeah.
And I will never forget then, the person I was going to for meditation, they were opening up a shop.
Yeah.
And they had loads of crystals and stuff. And she sent me the link to the items. And on there was a crystal pyramid.
No.
And I was like, can I swear?
Always.
I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Oh
Like,
my
what
God.
the fuck has just happened?
Yeah.
But I remember my belief then was like, wow, I've tested this. This isn't, I'm not going to try and test, this isn't a coincidence.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen that crystal pyramid anywhere with that shading. I don't even think I've seen a crystal pyramid at that point. I wasn't really into crystals at all.
Probably didn't really know what crystal pyramid was.
I was like, what's a pyramid with the shading?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that blew my mind.
Wow.
That blew my mind. And
Yeah.
I remember after that, I was like, okay, there's definitely something in this.
Yeah.
Like, and so then I started to just practice it with different things in life.
It's fun, isn't it? I remember at the beginning when you first get into it, and I was the same. I watched The Secret. I read it, then I watched it on Netflix. And you know the car parking scene where they talk about manifesting the car parking space. And that was what I started practicing with, and it just kept on happening like every single time. And then I was like, same as you, like, what else can I think about? And like even to this day, you know, I probably watched The Secret 10 years ago, something like that. To this day, I still, when I'm driving in my car, I'll have just moments where I just play with it and I speak out loud. Like I'm just on my own and I'm like, so universe, if da-da-da-da, show me da-da-da-da. And it shows me every time. And I always play with number plates. And and I'm like, show me a number plate that says something along the lines of, and I'll think of like a word, or like when I was actually manifesting getting pregnant, I was playing around with baby on board stickers.
That's cute.
And I would see them everywhere, like in the lead up. But obviously, you like your brain sees things in certain ways, doesn't it, when you're wanting to? But like there was just so many things where I was like, oh my God. And you don't need the confirmation, but when you see the signs, it's like, wow.
It's a reminder, it's reassurance.
Yeah.
You're like, I know this works.
Exactly.
I question it, but I know it works.
Yeah. And then you're like, I want a signy sign. Have you seen that meme on Instagram?
No.
It's like, you're asking the universe for a sign, but you need a sign. So like you'll see like pretty much exactly what you asked for, but you're like, no, it's not good enough. I want something a little bit clearer.
We do that all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Okay. So The Secret got you practicing basically manifestation.
Yeah, definitely.
And then kind of where did you go from there?
And then from there, I think I then started to just delve into more gratitude, journaling, writing my goals into existence, writing it in the present tense. And that, I think, again, was a game changer for me. I went down the self-development route. I did a lot more kind of holistic practices, and I kind of stuck with that for a few years, didn't expand on it further, probably until, I mean, I'm 41 now, probably until mid-30s. So I stuck with that for about 5 years. And then I started looking at, okay, what else can I do? What does that look like for me? The goal setting was a huge one for me. Again, writing in the present tense. I mean, I've got notebooks and notebooks at home where I literally wrote, I'll never forget, again, being a social worker and writing down, like, I can't wait to have my own business. I can't wait to have my first 10K month. I remember thinking, what does that mean? And then someone said to me, no, write it as if it's happening. So I was like, okay, let me flip the script again. And I started writing it as if, thank you, universe, for, would list it, how I felt. And then I will never forget being self-employed, getting my first contract. This was with a safeguarding business, and it was literally just over 10K. And I was
really,
like, I'm sorry. Like that happened. That I didn't imagine that would happen. That actually happened. And then again, with the businesses and how they panned out to be, I never dreamed once that I would have a business, if that makes sense. I wrote it down not knowing what that would actually mean, if I'm honest. So as a social worker, I was always like, I'm going to be a social worker. I'm going to work my way up. That's going to be amazing. And that's it. Like, it's very much a lifestyle. But then something shifted. And so I think for me, it was then looking at, okay, there's power in this. There's also power in this and the holistic practices. When I look at breath work, meditation, tapping and so on. And I was like, how can I bring this together? So I just started to experiment and play around with it.
And then you ended up here.
Yeah.
Wow. All those years later. I just want to touch on what you said about, you know, you wrote down that you had this kind of dream, or you knew you wanted your own business, but you didn't know what that would look like. And I think that's actually so important, to not necessarily know what it would look like. You know, I've had so many visions and so many things which I've thought, this is where my life is going to go. This is the business that I want. And I think just having that openness and that flexibility to just be like, you know, like one of the things which one of my mentors said to me, which I still bring with me like every day when I'm journaling, when I'm doing whatever, and now with my coaching as well, I'll always recommend to someone to say the words. So if you're writing down, you know, I'm so grateful for
Yeah.
whatever, and then to add on this or something better, because it just
Yes.
opens up that, okay, but you've got this idea that this is what you want, but maybe the universe wants to give you something better than that. But you don't know unless you're open.
You block it otherwise.
Exactly.
And I think we get so caught up on.
Yeah.
And I was saying this to someone yesterday, actually, we get so caught up, I want this thing. I want this thing and that is it.
Yeah.
I believe that if we don't receive that, it's because of divine protection. Like we are being protected from. It's not meant to be for us.
Exactly.
It's not meant to be. And even though we want it so bad, something better is going to come.
Yeah.
But you have to trust that. Now we know that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like trusting that. Like trusting in yourself that it's okay, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
That for whatever reason, whether it's a job, a relationship, a friendship, whatever, trusting that that isn't for me.
Yes.
Is really hard.
It is really hard,
difficult.
especially when you think you want it so bad. Yeah. And I think there's such a fine line, isn't there, between you have to have like an emotional feeling towards the end goal, but you can't have an emotional attachment to the end goal.
Spot on.
But isn't that so hard to differentiate, especially when you're trying to explain that to somebody?
Yeah.
And it's like having that clarity of that's what I want, but actually I'm not attached to it and I'm going to just let go and let it be.
Yeah.
Like there's a very fine line there. And I think that's the biggest probably setback in manifestation and achieving those things that we want.
100%. I mean, you really have to train yourself to be able to do that, to get to that point. So again, it's always about, I always say to clients I work with, I want you to tell me how you'll feel.
Yeah.
How do you want to feel?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're going to work towards. The thing will happen. Whatever's meant to happen will be.
Yeah.
But how do you want to feel? And like I said, if you don't attach yourself to the thing, but more to the feeling that you want to feel from whatever it is, but you're going to win.
Yeah. I actually found as I've gone on in this journey, and I'm sure you're the same, that you know, when you do your vision board and you have all these visions of what you want, like the old me, when I first started doing all of that, I very much was looking at the materialistic things.
Yeah.
And only I would say probably the last maybe 2 to 3 years, as my life has changed, as my wants and needs have changed as well, I now think about exactly that, just the feeling. And it's like when I'm doing a vision board now, I'm looking at images which represent those feelings, those feelings of peace, those feelings of clarity, those feelings of confidence, whatever it might be, rather than the big house. You know, still have the old image on there, a bit of materialistic stuff. Still want some of that, obviously.
We still love that,
yeah, but those feelings are what gets you there.
They're most important.
Yeah. So I want to dig a bit more into your businesses.
Yes.
Because
let's do it.
You do so much. And so you've got 4 businesses.
4 businesses.
In total.
Yep.
Including in Dubai?
Including the Dubai one, yeah.
Okay. So just talk me through everything. Talk me through everything that you're doing at the minute.
So the first, I'll take you through a timeline. That'll be easier.
Yeah.
So I set up the Safeguard Consultancy business. And I set that up still while I was working, actually. So I was still working full time. I'd moved over to a local authority in London and was working for them. Anyway, opportunity came up and I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Like, I'll test it out. Did that. And then I just kept on getting more and more work in.
Yeah.
Some more like independent social work. And then I had the contracts, the bigger contracts that came up. And again, it honestly was a leap of faith, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a risk taker at
Love
times.
that.
But I think you have to be.
You have to be.
And this contract came up and the person said to me, we've got this. We really want you to do it because you've got the experience, have got capacity. And I was like, well, not really.
Yeah.
Because it was a 3-month contract. And I said, I've still got a full-time job. And so I sat there and I thought to myself, what do I want? So I can stay in this local authority, which was amazing, don't get me wrong, but I will be in a rat race, just working my way up. That's the reality.
Yeah.
Or I can take a leap of faith and think, I know I've definitely got work for the next 3 months and then we'll see what happens. Like, I'm sure I'll get more work.
Yeah.
And then I was a bit like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. That's what I did.
Amazing.
I literally handed my notice and they were so lovely to me because they'd wanted me to go for another role there. And I said, I love that, but I have to do this for me. And so I left and then, went into that role and didn't look back. I'm still here like all these years later.
Amazing.
So that was the first business. Then after that, I set up the coach and retreat business with 2 other ladies,
Yeah.
beautiful women. And I've got to say, I'm very, very blessed because in all the businesses, apart from my first one, I've got amazing business partners.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to do it without them. I really wouldn't. So we set up the coach and retreat business. Again, that's the 3 of us. We work really, really well together. We hold retreats, again, deliver coaching. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly what we say.
Yeah.
And then,
How often do you do your retreats?
so usually once to twice a year.
Nice.
Yeah.
In the UK?
In the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think which business I set up next. Then what I did is with the community interest company, we actually did that for free for 2 years. So we didn't even set up as a business.
Okay.
We recognised this is more of a passion project now, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like back when I was 22, I started working in support accommodation. And again, these new regulations came out a couple of years ago. And me and the other consultant were a bit like, oh, God, they're going to find it really, really hard in the sector. Let's just start setting up free coffee mornings for them to kind of bring them together. Blah, blah, blah. And that's what we did. And then that just grew nationally. And we were like, God, we're going to have to do something for this now. So we just set up the CIC. So we run that. That goes really well. And then I've got the coaching, corporate wellbeing coaching business in Dubai. We set that up 2 years ago. And that wasn't meant to be corporate wellbeing. We were meant to work in schools.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So in Dubai, I'd been working in a school over here through the safeguarding company. And the story behind that was I kind of looked at the money I was bringing in and I thought I want to give back. Like I'm very big. I believe we should always give back somewhere where we can.
Agree.
And so I thought, okay, how can I give back? I started funding wellbeing days for kids. And the person that was delivering them, I said, I want you to give this to kids that like their parents just wouldn't be able to afford it. She ran these fantastic wellbeing groups and they were amazing.
Yeah.
But I said, it's only the kids whose families can afford this. What about all of those kids that can't access it? So we started running them. And then we were both like, imagine if we could deliver this in a school. So had a contact in the school, spoke to the head teacher. She was amazing.
Yeah.
They funded it. So we had 2 groups in a school and we delivered training to the staff as well. So we were literally taking that model over to Dubai.
Okay.
Because they were interested, they wanted that.
Yeah.
And as we were having these discussions, organically, we just started getting more requests for corporate wellbeing rather than schools.
Okay.
And then that's how it grew.
Wow.
So yeah, we worked with Adidas, Kayali, Dubai Airports, a few different big companies.
Incredible.
And that's how it just started rolling out. And they loved, again, that we had kind of the real evidence-based coaching style with the holistic practices.
Yeah, nice.
Usually they have to get 2 separate companies, whereas me and Liv are coming together and saying, we can do both for you.
Yeah. And that's so rare to have that in one.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's such a great example of what we were talking about earlier, of having the vision of the end goal, but being open to it being different.
Absolutely. So honestly, we were like, it's definitely schools.
Yeah.
And then it just started to unravel and we were like, no, schools.
Yeah.
It's corporate. And then again, we've got some UK clients. So we're kind of moving across the 2 at the moment, which is nice.
And why Dubai? I know you love Dubai, but how did you get to know Dubai? Like, what's the story there?
So I've been going to Dubai now, probably about 13 years. I'd say 13, 14 years. And I've got a close friend and family member there. And I just fell in love with Dubai. Dubai became my safe place, I would say. So if anything was going on, I'm just going,
I'm out.
See ya.
Yeah.
I'm gone. But every time I went to Dubai, I felt like I had a whole new experience. And you might find this now.
Yeah.
I find it's never the same. Like you have your home, I call them home comforts. I have the things I love to do, the cafes, the classes I like to go to, the hotels. But there's always a new experience.
Yeah.
And I always meet new people. And it is the land of opportunity.
It really is.
People are there because they want something different.
Yeah.
And everyone is so helpful. So when you meet someone and you're like, oh yeah, I'm here and I've got this business, they're like, oh, let me introduce you. This person would love that. Or let me introduce you to this person. And so I find that everyone's really helpful. Everyone's
so different
really open.
to hear.
Oh my God, the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like no one's hating on anything.
Yeah.
And everyone wants you to win.
Yeah. It's so evident, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like my parents actually met in Dubai. So I've literally been going since I was like born.
Yeah.
And when they go back now, they're like, this is so different. Because it was literally like desert when they were there. And I've got family friends out there and I've got friends out there. And I've had quite a few friends who have moved out there over the last kind of like 10 to 15 years. And all of them have just been like, you can't compare. Like some of them have traveled to other places. They've been to Australia, they've been in Europe, whatever. And they're like, just the vibe in Dubai, like you said, everyone wants you to win.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately is quite a rare thing,
Very.
especially in the UK. Like, it's just not like that at all. You have a few like you have your odd groups of people that want that for sure, but the general, like, every single person wants you to do well. And you just feel it, don't you? Like, the minute you step off the plane, you're like, this just feels good.
Energetically.
It's the energy.
Like, it's just high vibration.
Yeah,
it's the only way I can put it. And I think everything, like, from the service to it doesn't matter who you meet.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah.
Kind of everyone is there because they want a better life.
Yeah.
But also they want to give something back, I find. There's this huge thing around acts of service, I feel, in Dubai too. Don't get me wrong. Like, some people say to me, but it's so bougie, don't you get fed up of that? And I said, it depends what you go there for. Of course you can step into the bougie world without a doubt. And we love a lovely meal and we love a lovely night out. But there's such a massive well-being community over there as well, I find. And people that are just really grounded, that kind of it balances itself out. But everyone just wants everyone to win.
Yeah.
And they want to help. The acts of service is huge out there.
Massively. And everyone is genuinely, like, you get the vibe from everyone that they're happy to be doing that. Yes. No matter what they're doing.
An effort.
No. Yeah. Like, they're so happy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, you go to America and it's like almost feels like a bit of a forced happiness sometimes, like, with the service.
It's very big and very theatrical.
So nice to see you.
Yeah.
Like, really in your face. Whereas in Dubai, and that's great, don't get me wrong. Like,
of course.
Whatever, I'm here for that.
We love it.
We love it. But in Dubai, it's like just you feel like the happiness in their soul when they're talking to you.
And so genuine.
So genuine.
So we went on a staycay just recently when I was out there, me and my business partner, my friend.
Yeah.
It was all our birthdays, December, Jan, Feb, so like, let's treat ourselves.
Nice.
And again, like you said, the staff were just so amazing.
Yeah.
To the point where Liv, who's pregnant, the one of the guys was saying to her, how's baby, how are you?
Yeah.
Please make sure you use this cream for your body. Literally giving her advice. And I was like,
so sweet.
What a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have to do that. He's at work, but he's taken a genuine interest, and he's also sharing his life, saying he's just had a baby.
Yeah.
And I just thought, and then wants to share tips with her.
Yeah.
Again, we don't get that here.
You definitely don't
get that here. And I just thought, again, how beautiful that he stopped. Like, he's just stopped.
Yeah.
And he's been present. And he's like, tell me
How
about
lovely.
you. Tell me about your pregnancy. Let me tell you about my wife.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
I had a very similar experience when I just went. I went to a restaurant in the hotel that I was staying in, and they must have got the information that I was pregnant off the back of me emailing them before I went about a spa treatment. Like, I hadn't, like, made a point of telling the hotel I was pregnant, but I just emailed the spa saying, you know, have you got any pregnancy safe treatments or whatever? And I'd forgotten that I'd even sent that communication. And on the last night of the holiday at the hotel, we went to like a beachfront restaurant. So it was a lot of seafood. And the minute I sat down, the waitress came over and she was like, are you pregnant? Is one of you pregnant? And I was like, oh, like, do I look that pregnant already? Like, I was like,
how do you know?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I am. And then she was so caring about, like, so do you know what you can eat? Do you know what you don't need? Like, what you can't eat? Make sure you have this, don't have this. And like, just extra attention from literally me not even making a point of being pregnant. They've gone back, like, out of their way. And
it's that, isn't it? It's that level of customer service and the customer experience, the client experience. And kind of, I know that we would always want that for anyone that we work with. From the point they have contact with us, we want them to have the best service possible. When you go somewhere and you receive that, it's kind of like, this is beautiful.
Yeah. Why isn't it everywhere like this?
Yeah, because we don't get this at home in the UK.
Yeah. How do you find working in Dubai then in comparison to working here?
Different. And I guess what I mean by that is, I mean, a lot of work that I do is online unless I'm delivering workshops.
Okay.
And if I think about the environments, I mean, I'm very blessed. I can literally, unless I have to do something in person, I can work from anywhere.
Yeah.
So in Dubai, I love going there. I love finding a beautiful work spot and just being able to be there in the sun, take my breaks, get my routine in. I think that if we're thinking about wellbeing in particular, in Dubai, I'd probably say they're more open, without a doubt, to having wellbeing.
Yeah.
In the UK, we're not there yet.
Is that in corporate?
Corporates,
corporate world. Yeah.
I mean, some of them are, don't get me wrong, but some of them are still on the journey of understanding, rather than it just being a tick box. That's the one thing I can't stand. And I'll be honest with any organisation I work with, if you want us to come in, of course we'll come in, but this has to be meaningful. Like, I'm not here to deliver a workshop for you to tick a box to say, we've done this because it's international oh, it's mental health day, we've ticked a
Yes.
box. Like, there's no point in doing that.
Yeah.
It's just very fluffy. We want it to make a difference. So tell us about your organisation. Tell us what you need. Tell us about the culture. Tell us about what are the strengths of the organisation. What bits are you struggling with?
Yeah.
Let us create something for you from that. So it's meaningful and something you can continue to take forward. So I think where you have the organisations that are really open to that, that's amazing. I just guess the ones that are still, I'm going to call it, they're on the journey. And of course they are. Like, why they're busy trying to make the business run. That's tough.
Yeah.
It's really, really tough in itself. So I'd say we're still taking them on the journey.
Okay. Nice. And what would you, like, what's your, like, standard, if you were to deliver a corporate wellbeing day, do you have, like, set things that you would suggest, or do you kind of work off the back of everything individually?
So we have our set packages where we will look at, so it may be a positive psychology exercise, some NLP work, along with a holistic practice.
Okay.
But we would very much go from, we prefer to do it from what do you need.
Right.
So this is what we deliver and these are the options. So it might be around stress management. It may be around confidence in leadership. It may be around communicating better. It may be around managing boundaries. That's a huge one at the moment in corporate. So I'm managing boundaries and expectations, because what we find is people are so stressed out and they're not managing their own boundaries, but then their expectations of their managers saving them is really high up there.
Okay.
So we're saying, okay, let's work. What is this about? There's a massive communication breakdown. So we've been doing a lot of that work. So we have our standard kind of packages that they can pick from, and then we'll have the holistic to go with that. But where we can, we tailor it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Boundaries is such a big topic, isn't it?
Huge.
Yeah.
Boundaries and communication.
Yeah.
Like, they're two of the things that we find in the companies that just, if they're not done properly, everything falls apart. It becomes toxic.
Yeah. And even just personally, like corporate aside, right? Just personal, like, even to this day, I still find myself battling with setting boundaries sometimes. Like, I have it all in my head that these are my boundaries, but sometimes you find yourself thinking, hang on a minute, I've definitely not set that boundary. Why am I letting that happen? Like, it's a huge, huge, huge topic.
And especially when you're a giver. When you want to help people.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to stop and be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Am I doing that thing again?
Yeah.
Am I really doing that thing?
Yeah.
And if I am, what is that? Like, what is this bringing up in me? Why is it triggering me? Why is it triggering me to offer this service for free?
Yes.
Or to start offering them advice? They may not even want it.
Yeah.
And again, it's looking at what is that for me? What is going on here? Where am I going back to timeline wise? Because this is taking me back to something. I need to work out what that is.
Yeah. And your body, like, feels it, doesn't it? Like, immediately. Like, for me, if something triggers me, I just have, like, an instant sense of, like, anxiety.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is that one little request or something made me feel that way?
Right.
And then it's like, right, that's something I definitely need to address and work on. But I think when you're going about your day-to-day life, you don't have time to stop and think about those things.
No, you don't.
Which is why it's so important to do all the reflection work, all the personal development work, because otherwise you just find yourself in a bit of a spiral, a cycle.
You do. And you're not breaking that cycle.
Yeah.
You're not stopping that loop. And I think it's really important what you said there about us also doing the work. So we guide our clients to do the work. We do the work. But I have a coach. I have a coach who coaches me and a mentor that supports me through it because we're only human.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know everything. And sometimes we need someone to stop and say to us, tell me about that.
Yes. Just talk about it.
Like, tell me, how did that make you feel? Why did you shut up? Why did that trigger you?
Yeah. It's so important. I think I always think if coaches don't have coaches, not 24/7, don't get me wrong, we have seasons, right? Where, like, I go through seasons where I'll work with someone for a year, and then I might not work with someone for 6 months, and then we work together again, or I work with someone else or whatever. But I think in the industry of coaching, a big red flag is someone who doesn't think they need a coach. Because there's always someone that knows more than you. And, it doesn't even have to be the same thing that you're doing. Like, my coach, she specialized in breath work.
Yeah.
And she's very spiritual, which I'm definitely kind of getting to that point, and I'm definitely on that journey myself. But, like, just having her to do a practice with me, which is something which I'm not, by no means a professional in, and to be able to offlay. And,
Yeah.
you know, we take in so much energy from other people as coaches
We do.
that if you're not having that outlet yourself, that's only going to hinder your service that you're then providing, let alone your personal life.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely something there when you say the red flag. Why does someone feel they don't need someone to kind of talk through what they're experiencing? What are you worried about? What do you think is going to show up? What's going to come to the surface for you?
Exactly.
Or is it that judgment piece?
Yeah.
That you're worried that someone is going to say you're not doing it the right way, or you should be doing like this. I think for me, definitely for my social work practice, we're very big on reflective practice and supervision. So we've always had that supervision or external supervision or coaching. So for me, it came quite naturally, like, of course I want a coach. I don't know everything. And I want someone to help me kind of process what I'm going through, my techniques, my client work, any challenges that I have. What does that look like for me? But also, how do I take care of me? We're so busy taking care of everyone else that we do lose ourselves sometimes.
So much and so easily.
Yeah.
I remember when I moved, so I was in London before and I was single and I was like living on my own, had no responsibility other than my cat, like been business owner for, you know, a number of years. So I was very much like my own routine, very strict with my routine at that point as well. At the gym every day, morning routine up at 5:30, like I was on it. And I was like, oh, obviously I then moved to Bedford and I was like, oh, it's fine. I'm going to be exactly the same. But the reality was I've gone from living on my own in London where I can walk everywhere easily, like very different lifestyle, to moving to Bedford, in with my partner, in with my stepson, change of environment, change of job, like everything changing. And very quickly I slipped out of every single thing that I was doing. And luckily for me, because I was coaching, that was kind of my way of keeping on top of my own work by teaching. But I was like, oh my God, I was like 8-9 months into living here. And I was like, wow, I've literally totally slipped out of all my routines here, brought myself back. But my routine today looks very different to what it looked like back then. And that's also really important, to recognize those seasons that you go through and adapting.
And that is okay now. So that's a huge thing with my clients. And they're like, but I haven't done this. I've fallen off. There's no point. And I'm like, let's stop a minute. Like, what is going on here? Because it's okay. It's okay for you to say, do you know what? I just needed a break. Or I need to stop. Or that just wasn't a priority for me. And it's about, how do you get back on? And actually, why wasn't it a priority? Why were you not a priority for you? And how did it make you feel when you weren't a priority for you? And how did things slip? And what happened? But that's definitely a massive thing that comes up, where it's kind of like, well, I've stopped just because life got in the way and I didn't get back up and get back on prioritising myself.
And the guilt that comes with that.
Oh, absolutely.
And then that's just even, you go down a whole different spiral. So what do you do then now on a daily basis, especially between? That's not a
it's
word.
A new word. No, it is now.
Between being in Bedford and Dubai.
Yes.
Where life is very different in both places. So what does your routine look like, and how does it differ in both places?
I make sure I work out. I have to move my body. And in both places, I think I've set up structures that allow me to do that. So that doesn't change. Steps, get my steps in, have to get my steps in. But also my practices. So whether that's breath work, meditation, tapping, whatever I need that day, I will do one of those practices. And it's really important that I do that, and my gratitude. So it doesn't matter whether I'm in the UK, Dubai, or anywhere in the world, I can still do that. And I try and maintain it. So I think if I make it, I would only do this if I'm at home in the UK or in Dubai. And then I go away somewhere and work somewhere else. It kind of throws me. So I've got that mindset that I only do this when I'm in these spaces. So I try and make it a routine that I can literally do from anywhere. And when I say it's a game changer, it is an absolute game changer. I can tell when I haven't done it. Like, and I'm sure you're the same. It's like, I'm irritable. I'm annoying.
Snapping
can't
at everyone.
Focus properly. And I just feel completely thrown out. And breath work was really, really, again, very life-changing for me. I really got into breath work after my trip to Kenya, an impact and fitness trip. My business partner, she's a Wim Hof breathwork instructor. So I really got into Wim Hof, and I love the Wim Hof breath. I think the ability of being able to breathe and then retain your breath for so long, and being in a place that is so still, and not even trusting yourself. So it goes back to trusting. I always say, like, when I'm doing it, I'm like, trust the body. Okay, so
Yes.
trust the body, trust the breath.
Yeah.
Trust the body, trust the breath, and just let it go. Like it's fine. And so there's something around that also builds confidence in you and your ability to do different things. So I always try and stick to those practices wherever I am because they ground me. They bring me back to reality. And I know that, and sometimes, don't get me wrong, if I'm feeling really stressed, I will practice them more. And I say to myself, God, why do I have to feel stressed to start practicing you more?
Yeah.
That's reality. Like I kind of forget that part.
Uh-huh.
But I would always do one of them.
Yeah. I love that. And I
day.
think that's so important to have a selection of things
Yeah.
rather than like, again, taking it back to the beginning. I think everyone goes through this when you
Yeah.
first start doing personal development and it's like, right, every morning I'm going to do and you list like 10 things.
Stop, guys.
Yeah. And you last like 2 days and you're like, this is just not, it's just not possible. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can say, right, okay, these are my practices. No, you've got your non-negotiables, your steps, moving your body, and one practice.
Yeah.
That's just so much more achievable.
It is.
It's so important to remember that. You don't have to do everything.
It is. And I was on a radio interview recently and they said to me, one of the hosts said to me, what would you say to a busy parent, like that literally has no time? They have no time. And you're sitting here, Slav, saying, you should be doing this, that, and the other. And I said, start with 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like literally honour yourself 5 minutes. Like you are worth 5 minutes in the morning.
Yeah.
Whether that's you with a cup of tea, sitting in silence on the bed or downstairs, or 5 minutes after you've had a shower, just saying, I'm just going to sit here and breathe, not rush. That's fine. Like we start with small baby steps. It doesn't have to be anything big, glossy, glamorous, because when we do that, we set our expectations so high that we're telling ourselves we're not going to do it. We're already setting ourselves up to fail. So saying this isn't achievable.
Yeah.
But 5 minutes in the morning, you can do that.
Yeah.
And then it's building that confidence. And again, it's just a rewiring, isn't it? And telling yourself, I can do this and I'll increase a little bit or I'll try something different. But I think for me, it's not over promising something to yourself. And for me, I had to make sure I wasn't over promising because we've all been there. I said,
Easily done.
like I've done it and I'm like, I'll do this, that and the other. And I don't do one thing. So I feel so overwhelmed. I've got nothing done.
Yeah. That's so easily done.
Yeah.
You know, I've actually got a friend who recently has reached out to me. She's basically on like this big health and fitness journey. And I've got my PTing background and stuff. I don't actively do that now, but I'm always here for like advice and stuff with my friends especially. And she's got herself another coach who's basically set her, you know, her calorie goal, her steps, her this, her that, her that. And they're all great goals to have, but she's literally gone from like doing nothing and eating whatever she wants, not tracking her calories or anything like that. Yeah. So I've said to her, look, rather than worrying about hitting 10,000 steps every day, if you were hitting 2,000 steps before, aim for 4,000 steps. Like just start with that little improvement, track your calories just to see what you're eating before you start thinking, I need to cut out 1,000 when you were eating another 1,000. Like just being kind to yourself and being like, I hate the word like be realistic. Like I hate that word. But when it comes to your goals and when it comes to achieving things, you have to be realistic in what you're actually going to do. You know, set yourself high goals, but make sure they're sustainable.
Absolutely. And that's where we set ourselves up to fail.
Exactly.
When we're trying to do everything and anything.
Yeah.
And it comes back to, there's something also about, who are you doing this for?
Yes.
Like, where is this driven from?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to set these really high standards, but for who? Are they really for you? Or are you trying to prove something to someone else?
Because when they are truly for you, you will very likely do it.
And you'll take the wins.
You'll just take it.
Yeah, you'll take, you know what, like you said, I've done 4 times out of 2.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm really happy with myself.
Yeah.
That's a huge achievement for me.
Yeah.
Because you're not worried about anyone else or that validation. And as we know, validation comes into everything. And it's crippling for some of the people I work with.
Yeah.
Absolutely crippling.
It's a huge topic, isn't it?
Yeah,
validation.
It is.
And so many people rely on that external validation for everything.
Yeah.
That's a big struggle, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I said to you at the start of this podcast, I was like, I've got my notes here. And I'm like, still on number 1.
Just tell me that. If I'm yaddering on, just say so.
Because we've covered everything else.
Okay.
Listen, I always love to just go with it anyway. I do want to talk about something which is quite a big
Okay.
life event that
Yeah.
happened for you in 2019,
Yeah.
when your cousin was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
Can we talk about
Of
that?
course. Yeah.
Tell me, kind of take me back to that time.
So we got news that she'd been diagnosed with cancer. She was diagnosed and she passed away 3 months later. So she'd been poorly. And when I say poorly though, she wasn't poorly, but she just had symptoms and she didn't feel right. And I think that for me, and I remember I'd literally just flown back in that day. I'd been to Barcelona, flew back in, and then we got the call that night. And she was only a couple of years older than me now. So I think for me, I was like, wow. Like, how did that just happen? Like but we know cancer doesn't just attack bodies of people that aren't fit. We know that already.
Yeah.
But I think it's trying to get your head around how did that happen? She had colon cancer. So it it was very aggressive.
Yeah.
But it made me reevaluate everything. Like up until that point, I was literally working like a fucking machine because I wanted to, not because I felt I had to, because I was really passionate about what I did, like extremely passionate. And it's not a job where you go home and you just switch off, like talking about kids that have been exploited and trafficked, all these horrendous things. So I was really passionate. I wanted to do the absolute best I could do. But with that, it takes its toll. And I had to sit there and think, okay, I can continue what I'm calling the rat race, or I need something to change. So I remember going to my boss and saying to her at the time, like, I've just been thinking about this and what's going on, and I want to take some time out. I want to go traveling. And she looked at me like, I want to take 3 months out. She was like, okay, let me see what I can. We don't want to lose you. So we'll do what we need to do. And they were amazing. Like, they were amazing. They got me the 3 months off. That was all fantastic. But it, like I said, it made me reevaluate life completely. And my cousin actually, she works between London and Dubai, and she came over when I was there, and we were talking about my big cousin that passed away, and we were saying just about the impact and how it really does make you reevaluate everything in life.
Isn't it? That's so sad. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. But isn't it? I always find it, when you hear stories like this, that it takes for something like that to happen for us to go, hang on a minute. Like, we know deep down that we shouldn't necessarily be working to the level that we are, burning ourselves out like we're almost doing. And then something happens either to us or to someone that we love for us to then go, hang on a minute. And it's a shame that we have to let it get to that point, right?
Absolutely. Like, why does it take something tragic to happen? And I always say again, like in my personal and my work life, I say to people, why are we waiting to become poorly before we change things? And that's a massive one for me now. Like, why we wait? Like, I'm not waiting to be ill to change something. And I think that, again, comes back to the experience with her. Not that of course, she couldn't have prevented anything, but I'm thinking, knowing that life is so short, why am I taking? I like to take a risk, but I like to take the right risks, not the wrong risks. And it was just massive. I think the age as well, that she was literally 36.
So young.
Yeah.
Wow.
So young. And that it just suddenly happened. Like, she was just suddenly taken away. And it's just like, how do you get diagnosed and then pass away a few months later? Like,
crazy.
That is fucking mental for me. But it also made me think about what I wanted from life. Like, so about having more experiences and more joy. And what does that look like? And how do I create? Like, no one's going to come and give it to me. Nah. Like, no one's going to come along and say, here's your box of joy, darling. Have the best time. It's about, I have to take responsibility for that. I have to choose that. And so the first area that I knew I could change was, I want to have a few months of work. Like, that's what I'm going to do.
Good for you.
And so, like I said, I mean, COVID then hit, but I was in
straight
Bangkok
after.
for 2 days literally on my 3-month trip.
No.
Had to come straight back home. Yes.
No way.
Borders are closing down. So it wasn't easy sailing. But then after, like I said, I ended up going away, and then I ended up leaving that job.
Did you?
It was it was a permanent role. I loved it, and I loved that they trusted me completely. So we grew the position, we grew what we did in that area, and I was very, very blessed. And I made some amazing change, so that's why I loved it as well. But then I was being asked to go over to this London borough, and I thought, do you know what? Again, it was that risk part for me. I was like, I could stay here, or maybe I just go. I'm now going to work for an agency, so it's not permanent, it's not secure. But, I quite like that I don't know where I'll be in a year's time. But I honestly think that was spurred by her passing as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Where I was more open to taking risk.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, what's the worst? Like, if we're honest, what is the worst that's going to happen? And I think with everything now in life, before I would have wanted more security. I was definitely about having more stability and security. Whereas after that happened, me thinking life is so fucking short. It's kind of like, what's the worst? I'm going to take this risk. I'm not going to be stupid with it.
Yeah.
But what is the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Literally.
I get another job.
Yeah.
Go into another area of work. Like, it's not that bad. It's fine. So that's just how I kind of assess everything now. What's the worst? What's the best?
Yeah.
And what is the worst? The worst is not bad at all.
And everything's temporary, right?
Absolutely.
That's something which I always remind myself of. It's like, whatever you're going through, good or bad, it's temporary.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go through ups and downs or whatever. But, every decision that you make, I think, like, it's so important to make decisions, isn't it? Like, that's how we get by. You got to be quick on your decisions. But knowing that whatever decision you make, yes, it's going to lead to a certain outcome, but it's temporary.
Absolutely.
Especially if you want it to be.
Absolutely. 100%. And it's just holding on. It's trusting yourself enough. And I think there's something, especially if I go back to like the work element of it and being in that permanent role and what that meant, I think I'd always grown up kind of, if you work hard, you'll do well.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Do I believe in that so much? I don't believe you have to work and burn yourself to the ground to get what you should and receive. I don't believe that anymore.
Agree.
But that was how, I was 30 when my dad passed away, and I was the eldest in the family. I've got a brother and sister. And so I remember, and my mum's amazing, she gave us everything, but I remember like I wanted to, I was 14, I got my first job.
Yeah.
So from 14, that's all I knew.
Yeah.
Like from 14 up until I decided to go, self-employed and have my own business, that was all I knew, that you have to work really hard, you have to do all these hours. I remember being at uni, before uni actually, I went to uni quite late, I think I was 25, 26. And I remember going and having like 3 jobs just to get me through college to get into university. So it was always, you have to hustle, you have to work really hard, and then you will receive. Actually, now I know that's not the case. You have to put the effort in, don't you? You have to take the action. But when it's in alignment, you become magnetic.
Doesn't feel hard at all, does it?
It doesn't at all.
That's I struggle quite a lot with that, not me personally, but working around people or with people or friends or family members who have this like this way about them. It's like hard work, and I'm like, just relax. Because if, like you're saying, like when you are in alignment with it, it flows.
It does flow.
And that, but like you said, does not mean you can't take action. It's this whole like manifestation thing, having this idea that you can just manifest and think about it and it's going to happen. Obviously that's not the case. You have to take the action steps. But the feeling of taking those action steps is so enjoyable when you're aligned.
Absolutely.
And I think, and I'm sure you recommend this to your clients as well, like to give some of the best advice I think we can give is that if it doesn't feel like that, it's not necessarily for you. Don't
step away. What is that about?
Yeah. And I think there's a fine line, but you will know the feeling. Your gut will know the feeling of like, okay, this feels challenging, but I'm actually still enjoying this feeling in comparison to this feels really forceful. When it feels forceful and you just don't feel good about it, that's another massive red flag.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's your thoughts on sacrifice? Because this is another topic which comes up a lot in entrepreneurship, where I hear a lot of people say that you have to sacrifice something or a lot of things in order to succeed. I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
I don't think you do. I don't think you have to sacrifice. I think there are times, like someone said to me, can you have it all? Can you have it all? You can, but not at the same time. And what I mean by that is, we're not saying you have to sacrifice something, but you have to sit there and say to yourself, I'm going to have to work really hard on this now. Time-wise, say energetically, rather than being like, I have to work and hustle really hard. I'm going to have to put time and effort into this because this is what I want. I'm going to take the action. And that means for a short period of time, I might not be able to do all these other little things that I absolutely love and take more time and enjoyment for. That doesn't mean I can't have it, because once this is done, I'm fully back in to my swing and flow of that.
Yeah.
You're not sacrificing it. You're recognizing you can have it all, not at the same time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
And so like people say to me, is there such a thing as balance? Have balance. I don't really like the word balance
Me
for my skin
neither.
apps. I'm thinking, what is balance?
Yeah.
It's setting people up to fail, to say, if you don't have this equally set out, you are failing. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like balance means that on some days you'll do a bit more of this, on other days you'll be, and that is fine.
Yeah.
Not everything is going to be equally there's no such thing as perfect.
It can't
so
be.
Let's delete the word perfect out of your vocabulary straight away. So there's no such thing. But it's about, you can have it all, but you have to accept that it will look different at different times of the month, or the year, the seasons.
Especially as a woman.
Yes, absolutely. Because we have to pour in on different days into different things. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to sacrifice. I think that's something that women have been taught, if I'm being completely honest.
Conditions.
Yeah. But if you want to have this business career, you have to sacrifice having children. If you want to have children, you have to sacrifice. I'm not saying it's not going to be difficult. I'm not saying it's not going to be challenging. I'm not saying that at all. But if you have the right mindset and the right support network, I'm telling you now, and you know this, anything's achievable.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about my work. Like opening that door to people and saying, look at this life. You can have this life, but only if you want it.
Yeah.
You have to want it for you. But if you want it, it's all there.
Yeah.
You just got to believe it.
So true. I couldn't agree more. And I have exactly the same view as you. And I always say, you can only have two priorities, I think, at once.
Yeah.
You can't physically have more than two priorities. So if you're a parent, your children are going to be a priority.
Of course. Yeah.
No matter what, right? So that's one. And then say you've got a business, or say you've got health and fitness goals, say you've got a partner.
Yeah.
That's another three things that technically should all be a priority. But actually, there's going to be periods of time where, if you want your health and fitness to be thriving, the other two things are going to have to take a bit of a back seat.
Yeah.
But like you said, just for a period of time.
Yes.
And just, again, having that awareness that that's okay.
Yeah.
And not judging yourself for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It stresses me out when I hear this sacrifice thing. And I'm like, no, you don't need to sacrifice your life. Like, just relax. Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
I could not agree more.
And where that's come from, that's other people's opinions, thoughts, and experiences, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's theirs.
Yeah.
That's not yours to absorb and take on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to touch on limiting beliefs quickly, because I know you've got some stuff to talk about with this. So tell me what you've experienced in terms of your own limiting beliefs, and how have you overcome these thoughts?
So I remember writing this down. I will never forget going into meetings. This was a huge one for me, Nat.
Yeah.
I would literally have to go into these meetings and present every Wednesday. And me and another colleague would literally be outside the room, and I'd be like, why am I doing this job?
Really?
Why am I choosing to be here?
Yeah.
And feel like I'm going to throw up on the floor?
Oh,
Because I'd be that nervous and petrified.
Yeah.
And am I going to be judged? Am I good enough? What do they think? What if they question this? What if they question that? And we'd literally me and her would both stand outside this massive boardroom and we'd be like, why are we here? But we're here because we're doing the jobs. We love social work. We hated that part though.
Yeah.
And so that went on for quite a few years, where I'd go into meetings, even if I'd have to go and present in different forums, or we'd have these panels I'd have to present at, I'd always come away and feel like, was I okay?
Yeah.
Was I knowledgeable enough?
Uh-huh.
Did they think that I presented well? Was my pace okay? Was the pitch of my voice? I mean, this is a joke now. I'm literally going into a spiral about the pitch of my voice.
Oh my
They
gosh.
don't care about the pitch of my voice, but I've gone really spiraled out
Just
now.
like self-judgment mode.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And that went on for ages. That went on probably for years. But I was so passionate about the work that I'd have that, and then I'd be like, you know what? Now I've got to deal with something else. So it'd go. But for me, it was just such a horrible feeling for so long, having that. And then I started getting into NLP, and I did my NLP training. And I will never forget doing this exercise around how you feel in a certain situation, how you want to feel.
Yeah.
And they said it would take a while to kind of absorb into it. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I'll never forget delivering a presentation and coming out of there, and a little while later thinking, sorry, where's that voice?
Yeah.
That voice is gone.
It had gone.
I didn't care.
Wow.
Like, I literally didn't care. I was like, I went in, I bossed it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Now let's get the results. So I think for me, that was really huge, because for years and years and years, I would literally beat myself up and be like,
Yeah.
did they think I was good enough? Even though I knew I was amazing at my job, that's the craziest thing. And I'd always get praise for that. There'd be that little voice that would be like, no, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
They didn't think you were good enough for that. And when I speak to a couple of people about it, they'd be like, are you joking? You wouldn't realise, but I'm very good at putting a mask on.
Yeah.
Like I was very good at putting a mask on, going in, present, doing what I need to do to get the result I needed to get and step away. So for me, I literally just felt like I could breathe.
Wow.
After that, I could just breathe and not have to worry.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think limiting beliefs are such a huge thing, aren't they? And I think we all experience them to some degree at some point, right? No matter how far along you are in your journey. And I think imposter syndrome, huge. And it's such a thing, imposter syndrome. And I think it's important to recognize that it's okay to feel like, to have those feelings as well. Because a lot of people sometimes try and come out of it so quickly and be like, no, I'm not feeling that way. And it's almost that kind of toxic positivity side of it. Whereas if you can just recognize that, no, do you know what? If you're growing and if you're doing something that is helping you grow, it is going to feel scary and you might have those feelings, and that's okay.
Yeah,
rather than just like trying to avoid them.
And it's about how you then process that. Let's work through that. What do you need when you feel like that? How do you manage it? And I work with a lot of leadership teams, and imposter syndrome comes up so much now.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because sometimes I think we have this perception that people are in these real kind of high level roles, that they don't get that.
Yeah.
They're probably the ones that have it the most.
100%.
But they just mask it so well.
Yeah.
And so we unpick. And when we, when you really manage to manage that feeling, you excel in so many other areas. It's unreal because there's nothing holding you back.
Yeah. And that's
Nothing.
Totally. And that's the same as any form of personal development, really, if you think about it, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to ignore these horrible feelings that I'm having. It's not about just like cancelling them out and hoping for the best. It's about addressing them, managing them, and moving forward for them as quickly as you can, rather than this whole, we need to be positive all the time and just pretend everything's great.
Yeah. It's shit.
It is. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to not feel okay.
Yeah.
Like, and there's something about owning that.
Yeah.
I was on the phone to a client the other day, and they were in a really bad place.
Yeah.
And they were really spiraling. And what we'd kind of worked out was that they were so busy on trying to avoid the emotion and making the emotion disappear that they were getting sucked into this black hole of anxiety. And we were like, wait a minute, you're so busy trying to avoid this that you've caused yourself even more stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
So then we kind of brought them back into owning, okay, tell me how it feels.
Yeah.
And what does that bring up?
Just address it.
And where does that come from? Okay. And what do you need right now?
Yeah.
And that it was literally as simple as that. It's not always that simple, but for that person, it really, really was. But there was something around this avoidance. They felt they shouldn't be feeling this emotion. They felt like they'd let themselves down because they had felt it. And it's like, but let who down?
Yeah.
Like, who?
Yeah.
Who are you worried about? Because it's only you dealing with this and it's only me and you talking about it.
Yeah.
So again, you're getting in your own head. But like I said, it really is training that. I always say to people, it's like, I would love to go to gym now and come out with the most amazing body from one training session. My version of what an amazing body is. That'd be amazing. But that's not the reality of it. Like, we have to go back and we have to train the muscle every day or however many times a week to get it to where we want to be. And I always say to people, with mindset, it's exactly the same.
100%.
You can't go in and go to one workshop and think your whole life's changed. It may feel like it's changed because you haven't done it before and you're, this whole new world.
You're like, wow, that was great.
And we love it when that happens.
Yeah.
But for that to be consistent and to be able to sustain that, you have to continue to work on that muscle.
Yeah. And that's more than just reading.
Absolutely.
And watching. And, I did, taking it back to my personal journey, I probably did about 5 years of personal development before I actually did the work. Yeah. And I literally thought, don't get me wrong, like reading all those books and doing all of that, of course, would have had a positive impact on my life. But until I dug into myself and did the physical work and the writing and the thinking and the digging up all the shit that I didn't want to think about, until you do that, that's where the change actually happens and the growth actually happens.
Absolutely.
And I think we're in a really great place now where I think personal development and mindset work is becoming bigger and bigger, and more people, I think, you know, with social media, we've got a really great thing there sometimes due to the amount of stuff that is on there and the amount of knowledge that is on there. But I think a lot of the time social media makes out like you do just need to read that book, or you do just need to go to that conference or do that workshop, and then you're going to be fixed. When it takes years and years and years of work.
Of showing up for yourself, like choosing you.
Yeah.
Literally showing up and saying, I'm worth this.
Yeah.
And this has come up for me. And do you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not 10 steps behind now.
Yeah.
Me recognizing it is going to put me 5 steps ahead actually in the future. So let me just deal with what's going on. Let me feel that. Let me move through it.
Yeah.
What do I need?
Yeah. 100%. I could talk to you all day, Slav. I've got so much to talk about. We haven't even touched on your childhood or anything like that.
Yeah.
Do you want to dig in?
We can do that. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Tell
I'm ready.
me
I'm
about
open.
it. Tell me about little Slav.
So little Slav is the eldest of 3 siblings.
Yeah.
So I'm Serbian, but I was born in the UK.
Okay.
Grew up in a very Serbian household, I would say. And it's so interesting you say this. I was talking about this the other day. It's so interesting about kind of how our childhood really does shape us and where that takes us from a very, very early age. And kind of in my household, it was very much as a female, of course, you'll go to school, all lovely, but then you will get married and you'll have kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. You will have a great job, but kind of that's your future. And I think that for females, culturally, there is something about them being more silenced. Not in all families, but there is that. Like, I have witnessed that. And so I think from a very young age, I remember always being like, no,
that's not going to be me.
Fucking not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be silenced. I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to put my house. There's nothing wrong with that. I have to make that really, really clear. There is nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, if that's what you choose, it's a beautiful thing if that's what you want. But not because you're being told that's how it should be.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
Big difference.
Huge difference. So I think from a very early age, that shaped me in regards to my own values and what I wanted growing up and what I looked like.
Can you remember how old you were when you started having those thoughts?
I remember how old I was when I started hearing comments that made me question or seeing things I didn't think was right. And I must have been around 8, 9.
Okay, so young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
And just thinking like, that's not right, or why is that person speaking to that person like that? And especially when we'd go back home to Serbia, like I'd see it was very different culturally as well.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wow, like how has that happened? And so that made me question things. And then I mentioned my dad passed away when I was 13 and it was just my mum bringing us 3 up. And for her, she's an amazing woman. Like, she gave everything to us. But for her, being a woman, bringing up 3 kids, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure on, if anything goes wrong, it's all her fault because she's a single mum. And the Serbian community, they're lovely. But there was a lot of judgment there. Like, that's the reality, if I'm being completely honest. So I think, given that mum did an amazing job, I think my dynamic in the family, being the eldest child, changed, if I'm honest. And I think that stayed with me up until now. So I think I am always kind of the go-to.
Okay. You got brothers or sisters?
Brother and sister.
Brother and sister.
And that's fine, because I created that as well, that kind of position in the family. But I'm always a go-to, and I kind of just owned that role. But I think from very young, like I said to you, worked when I was 14. That's what, not because I didn't have, but because I wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you do, and you work really hard. And that then shaped me massively. And there's loads and loads of pluses to that. But there was a lot of stuff I had to undo now from my beliefs and my values of what I'd been brought up to believe you should do. You have to work hard. Women should do this. Women should do that. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Yeah. Who said? Not me. I mean, I remember speaking to like family members being like, why?
Yeah.
Because I'm a woman, that means that I'm meant to do X, Y, and Z, or no, it doesn't happen.
To have that awareness at such a young age, that's like a massive thing.
And I think it's because we used to go back to Serbia a lot. So I think I had that experience of seeing, kind of being in the UK, seeing what it's like, but then going back to Serbia and seeing how certain things were.
Yeah.
And not in every place, like I said, it's very different, but they were my experiences. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember they just stick with you. There's certain things that stick with you from your childhood that you remember.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, as I got older, like, that's not right. That's not okay.
Even just like little things when you're like, what?
Yeah. And that's not happening. Like, I just won't tolerate that.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah.
So your childhood experiences actually probably have quite a lot to play in terms of what you're doing now as your career as well.
I'd say massively.
Yeah.
Massively. I think even when you look at me going into social work, massively that played a part in kind of like wanting justice and social justice and so on.
Yeah.
But then also empowering people.
Yeah.
Women and men. So I do work with men as well.
Uh-huh.
Working with them to support them in believing themselves, because again, there's a lot of stories and narratives that they've held on to. And it's about how do you support them in undoing that.
Yeah.
Because whose story is that?
Yeah.
Because from what you're telling me, it's not yours. It's not yours to hold on to.
Do you know what? Undoing, this is this conversation I've had a few times recently. I think so much of growth is just undoing.
Yeah.
You know, yes, we're learning new things and we're learning new ways and new skills and new knowledge, but so much of it is just unlearning what you previously learned and just realizing that actually that's not true.
Yeah.
And I think it takes us to get to a certain age. You know, I'm a little bit younger than you. I'm 36, but it probably took me until I was 33 to really start seeing life in a different way and like looking back at childhood experiences or things you were taught when you were younger, and like even just the world around us, which is a whole different, we won't go down that rabbit hole today, but like just the way that we've been conditioned to believe things is all just a load of bullshit.
It is a load of bullshit.
Literally.
It is. Absolutely. And I think I was just thinking that when you were saying that, even kind of our environment. So I grew up in Bedford now. Like, born and bred in Bedford.
Yeah. I was going to ask you actually, have you always been in Bedford?
Always been in Bedford. And I think what was really interesting is even when I was at school, so I did my A-levels, but there was not a thing about me going to uni. It was never an option. Not that it was an option if I wanted it, like my family was supporting me no matter what.
Yeah.
But it was never necessarily on the table as a card.
Okay.
And I think that's just because that's not what you did. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just not what you did.
Yeah.
And I always remember I'll make you laugh now. I wanted to be a TV or radio presenter. That was my dream.
Yeah.
That was my absolute dream.
I can actually imagine you being on TV and radio.
That was my dream. And I remember my mum, I must have been in year 9. So how old are you? 14, 15?
Yeah.
And the Brit School in Croydon.
Yeah.
And I was saying, there's this amazing school.
Yeah.
And I want to go there and do media.
Yeah.
And my mum obviously thought, I've lost the plot. Like, you're 14, where do you think you're going? But my family lived in West London. So I was like, could this work? I mean, I don't actually know how it would have worked travelling from there to Croydon. But anyway, I had this dream that I was going to go to the Brit School.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad's friend, I got him to pick me up with his partner. They took me to visit the Brit School and everything. Yeah. And this was such a huge dream. But I think for my mum, again, it was very much, I was 14. I had just lost my dad. She didn't want to just hand me over to family members to then take care of me somewhere else. But like I said, that whole thing about living out that dream, it wasn't a thing. Does that make sense? It was kind of, you stay, you do this. Then, like I said, going to uni, it wasn't a thing. I decided to do that much later on because those options weren't on the table. Not because people didn't want them for me, just because that just wasn't what we did.
It wasn't the norm.
And it wasn't the norm. Yeah, it wasn't kind of course you're going to go, if you want to, this is a card that's on the table for you.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely plays out. I think for me, I'm just very big on people knowing they have options.
Yeah.
And they can literally do whatever they want. Like, you can do whatever you want. Tell me what you want, and let's work it out. Is it aligned? And if it's what you really want, we can make that happen.
Yeah.
And if it's not what you really want, we won't. But it's about knowing these are your options.
Yeah.
This is available to you.
It's so important to know that, because we are conditioned to believe that there are only set things in life.
Yeah.
Even like when I think back at when I was at school, you know, I went to a private school, I went to a good school, and I just remember being at school, and I must have been 17, and I'm doing my AS levels or my A levels or whatever, and we would have like a careers lesson every week.
Yeah.
And I just remember the options that we were given as a career were just like your standard, you know, sciences, psychology, maths, English, art. Like there was never anything suggested, even though they were all there. There was never anything suggested like event management, PR, you know, all these things, which were actually what I was all about at that time. So I went to uni and I did a year of psychology with criminology, which is like psychology, don't get me wrong, that is a bit of me. But I picked that course because I didn't actually feel like I had many other options. I was like, I don't want to do anything like academic as such. So I thought psychology with criminology, that sounds like a bit of me. And actually, it was not me at all. So I ended up wasting a year at uni. And then I changed my course in year 2 and I ended up doing PR and communications, which was definitely more what I was about. But the reason I'm sharing that is because being at school, I was not given those opportunities of what was actually available to me. And I wasted a whole year. Don't get me wrong, I had a great time at uni. I lived my best life.
Good,
and I was like out every night.
Don't regret it. That shaped me today.
Literally, there's definitely stories that have shaped me today. But if I had been told, actually there are other options, then I wouldn't have wasted that first year as such. You know, nothing's a waste. I don't regret anything. But like, you know, if I had been told a bit more information, you know, when you're 16, 17, you're still young. You don't know what's out there.
You have not got a clue. And it's scary.
Yeah.
You're like, I feel like I have to do something. Yeah. But I don't know what that something is. Yeah. And will people judge me? So let me just do anything to do it.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm half Lebanese. So my dad is bless him, he's like so supportive and so kind and everything, and will always support whatever I want to do. But he was also very much like, these are the subjects kind of thing, because that's all he knew. And my mum would just kind of go along with it as well. So it's so important what you just said. Yeah. Anything is possible. You've got options.
Absolutely. And the reality is our parents did the best with what they had and what they knew.
Exactly.
Because no one's taught them any of this. Yeah. They haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because like talking about the mindset work and personal development, like I'm very open with my family. I kind of try and guide them on this journey. Yeah. And at first,
how is that, by the way? Trying to guide them.
Manifesting. What is she talking about? Yeah. But now they love it. Now they get it. When I talk about, you know, being positive, and not kind of toxic positivity, but reframing things and how you talk to yourself is so important. So our body responds to that without a doubt. Like we don't even recognize. We're so unkind to ourselves sometimes. We wouldn't dream of being that unkind to anyone else. So I'm very much about, you know, speaking positively to yourself. Let's reframe things. Let's look at what's stressing you out. Let's do all of that. They're on the journey with me though. Yeah. I would definitely say, but it's taken a while.
Yeah, it does take a while. Yeah. I used to get so frustrated. I've got 2 older brothers. Yeah. And one of them, well, they're both very opinionated, but in like a great way. Like we have great conversations, great debates about things, but it's literally taken, I would say, probably up until maybe like 2 years ago of me trying to like bring in this kind of mindset, positive vibe. And like now one of them comes up to me and he's like, did you know, you should read this book. I'm like, mate, I literally recommended that to you 8 years ago. But like we said at the beginning of the conversation,
they have to be ready.
They have to be ready. Yeah. And when you were saying that earlier, I was thinking of one of my brothers specifically. And but how lovely is it to get to a place where you can actually see that you've impacted your family from what you're teaching and what you're all about.
No, I love that. And especially like brother and sister are great with it. And the kids, so I've got 6 nieces and nephews, adore all of them.
Oh wow!
But they're funny as well because they'll see things. They call me Auntie Dabs. They'll be like, oh, Auntie Dabs. At school, they came and they were talking to us about being positive and about wellness. And I said, that's like my Auntie Dabs.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I just love that. I love that they make that link.
Yes,
and that they also believe in it.
How important is that?
So important.
Yeah, I've got 2 nieces, and I've just bought one of them. It's their birthday next week, and I found this little thing on Etsy. It's like a little like frame plaque thing. And it says like I am, it's like all the I am statements. She's going to be 8. I am strong, I am brave, I am enough. And then her name's Mila. At the end it's like I am Mila. I was like, oh my God, I've got to get that for her. But it's so important to give it to them at that young age as well.
So cute.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Is there anything we've not spoken about that you want to share?
I don't think so.
No?
I think we've kind of gone
Yeah.
through everything. Are you happy?
I'm very
Yeah.
happy if you're happy.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah?
happy. Yeah, it's gone well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been an amazing guest. Before we close up,
Okay.
what's going on business-wise at the moment? Have you got anything that you want to share in terms of things that are coming up or anything?
So there are a few things.
Yeah.
So I've just kind of revamped my 3-month coaching program.
Nice.
So I'll be sharing that coming up in the next week or so, what that looks like.
Excellent.
And again, that's mindset coaching, but I also do mindset and business coaching.
Yeah, nice.
So we've got that. I'll be holding some events throughout the year, which I'm very excited to share. So I'll put some more details out about them.
Yeah.
And then with our corporate wellbeing, we've got a corporate wellbeing digital offering for corporates. So we'll be launching that in the next month. Again, that's really kind of to give individuals access to the practices that we have.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have to have us in for workshops, but you have access to a platform where you'll have us. There's videos, there's exercises, there's loads of different bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Because what we want is, like I said, now it's lovely us going and doing the workshop. But my question is, in everything I do, I say to people, so what?
Yeah.
So what? We've done that. So what difference does that make? How is that going to impact you? How do you continue to embed this?
Yeah.
So that platform will give organisations the opportunity to be able to continue those practices and to give their staff the opportunity to have that. So yeah, really excited about this.
Amazing. Where can people find you on socials so they can keep an eye on everything?
So LinkedIn, and that's my full name, Slavica Tobdzic, or on Instagram, and that's Wellness with Slav.
Perfect. We'll put your handles and everything in the comments below. Thank you so much.
Thank
You've
you,
been an
Nat.
amazing
Great.
guest. We'll get you back on for part 2 at some point because we can
Brilliant.
continue chatting
Yeah.
about God knows what and everything. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, and we'll see you soon.